ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
This is The Challenger Legacy, a 5-part series of science fiction from ABC Radio National. I'm Dr. Karl.
And I'm Fiona Pepper. In the first 2 episodes of this series, we covered the disastrous launch of the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Now, in episode 3, we're jumping forward 17 years to the year 2003, to another disaster.
This is episode 3, Columbia.
I spent a lot more time with Columbia than the other vehicles, tracking the problems, tracking the systems from flight to flight.
That's Mike Ciannilli. From the mid-90s, Mike worked as the Columbia Integration Systems Engineer, preparing the vehicle for launch. Columbia engineer Mike Ciannilli says that after Columbia made it to space, he first heard about the foam strikes as if it was no big deal.
And the next day, I remember walking to the office, and one of our graybeards, a gentleman that's been there for a long time, walked up to me and said, looks like we took a hit on the way up the hill, which means something struck the vehicle, we believe. And it was really as nebulous as that. Didn't really know what it was, how big it was, but it wasn't felt with a sense of major concern at that point at all.
Solo musica italiana.
And NASA has now confirmed it is wreckage from the Space Shuttle Columbia. Michael Ciannilli joins me from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. He's Columbia Program Manager, which means he's in charge of recovery of pieces of the shuttle. Michael Ciannilli, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
And tell us what you can about this shuttle piece. Does NASA know what it is?
What this is a cryogenic tank. On board the space shuttle, we have, in Columbia's case, 18 tanks of this size that carry cryogenic reactants, which would be liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen, for power generation.
I wonder, Michael, if it's a jolt in any way for you still, after all this time, 8 years since the disaster, to have a piece like this be found and come to you there in Florida.
You know, that's an excellent question, and it really is. The Columbia tragedy was very personal for very many of us that worked on the space program. So it was a very difficult time, and when you have events like this, it does, of course, emotionally make it difficult to process through. We take that one step forward and try to, in honor of the crew and in memory of their name, continue their research legacy. So Columbia, even though we've lost her 8.5 years ago, I think still lives on very strongly today.
Well, Michael Ciannilli, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you so much.
Michael Ciannilli, the Columbia Program Manager at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. We've been talking about a piece of wreckage from the Space Shuttle Columbia that was uncovered in Texas as lakes have dried up.
WSYR Syracuse, WSYR FM Solvay. This is News Radio 570 WSYR.
Syracuse's breaking news, weather, and traffic station.
On 106.9 FM.
And live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm Aisha Roscoe, and this is a Sunday Story, where we go beyond the news of the day to bring you one big story. At that desperate 11th hour effort to keep the Space Shuttle Challenger grounded, at the resistance to heeding those warnings, at a persistent and crushing burden of guilt for some of those involved, and at lessons learned from the Challenger disaster, which continue to resonate today.
NASA has also had an internal series of presentations for thousands of engineers and mission management teams, as well as contractors, and that includes Boeing, SpaceX, and Blue Origin.
You have to be vigilant. Every day you've got to make sure that the message is being sent to the workforce.
This is Michael Ciannilli, who developed and ran the NASA Lessons Learned program that focused on the Challenger, Columbia, and Apollo disasters.
The folks in the organizations have to feel it's not just platitudes or a nice slogan, but that's really how it is. You know, we honor dissenting opinion. We welcome dissenting opinion. There's no ramifications. Maybe lose a little time, maybe cost a little extra, but it's far short of having another accident.
SRF Audio.
Regionaljournal Zürich Schaffhausen. Mehr Daten sammeln und Verbrecher mit künstlicher Intelligenz aufspüren. Die Zürcher Kantonspolizei soll mehr Kompetenzen bekommen.
ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
Just like in the wake of Challenger 17 years earlier, it took time to work out the exact cause of the Columbia Space Shuttle disaster.
As the shuttle broke apart, re-entering the Earth's atmosphere on February 1, 2003, debris rained down on the southern United States.
Authorities are still desperately searching for the wreckage, using everything from horses to satellites to track it down.
And this debris is crucial to piece together what had happened.
I became so impassioned. I've got to do something. I cannot sit here. I got to do something. And I want to figure out what happened, fix this, and we got to do what's right.
Before the disaster, NASA's Mike Ciannilli had been part of the engineering team working on the Columbia shuttle. He then began leading a search and recovery team in rural Texas.
One moment you're a launch guy, right, that's launching a rocket. Now you're finding yourself in the back of a helicopter with the doors off, looking out, and you're trying to spot artifacts from the air. So it was, I would say, a roller coaster ride of emotions was probably the best way to describe it.
It took months to recover the Columbia debris, along with the human remains of the 7 astronauts who had died. After the long and grueling task, the space shuttle was reconstructed piece by piece in a huge hangar in Florida, allowing investigators to begin their work.
And there were a few guesses already emerging at this point as to what had actually caused the accident.
And one of them was to do with foam. Remember the insulating piece of foam that cameras had captured breaking off the external fuel tank and hitting the shuttle wing.
NASA has already begun its investigation. The immediate focus is on the possible damage to the protective thermal tiles on Columbia's left wing.
And yet, despite the attention that this foam strike drew during the mission, after the accident...
It was stated even by program leadership that it cannot be the foam. The foam cannot have caused this accident. But that really set us thinking it can't be the foam. Look somewhere else.
This is The Challenger Legacy, a 5-part series of science fiction from ABC Radio National. I'm Dr. Carl.
And I'm Fiona Pepper. Episode 4, The Devil You Know. And today, normalisation of deviance is a theory that comes up whenever you speak about the root cause of both Challenger and Columbia. And the concept really resonates for Mike Ciannilli, the Columbia shuttle engineer, particularly when thinking about the recurring issue of foam strikes.
We've been flying year after year, decade after decade. We saw some minor damages from the foam, and we got more conditioned to, okay, well, if we had a little foam here and we had some damage, we didn't want that, but the vehicle came back okay, there was no structural problems. And over time, that can condition you to accept things that you shouldn't accept. It goes into the concept of normalization of deviance.
Science fiction The Challenger Legacy was made for ABC Radio National on the lands of the Gadigal and Menang Noongar people. It's reported and presented by me, Fiona Pepper.
And with me, Carl Kruszinski.
Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5...